Red was the first agent added to the game post-release and quickly stole the hearts of many, and even became my most played character for a time. In this video, we're going to be looking at Red's strengths and weaknesses, go over her kit, and showcase two different Red builds. Her initial build that everyone must use, and my personal preferred build. While I may not be the world's #1 Red, this guide should be more than enough for you to hit the ground running. Alright, let's start it up. While classes aren't really a thing in Deceive, Red is identified as a scoundrel. These are agents with high impact expertise. Red certainly has a high impact expertise, but she doesn't really feel like a scoundrel the same way Larson and Madam do. She just doesn't quite fit the role. While she certainly has that high impact expertise, I think we'll see that it's not quite the same as Larson and Madam's. Unlocks in Deceive are unlocked with the character mastery system. As you play more with Red, you'll gain mastery points and mastery levels up to a maximum of 10. At levels 2, 6, and 10, you'll gain cosmetics. At level 3, the second passive, 4, the second expertise, and 5, the second weapon. At 7, the final passive, 8, the final expertise, and 9, the final weapon. Once you've completed the 10 mastery levels, you move into the long-term progression system known as Echelons. There's 100 Echelon levels, and it's estimated to take somewhere between 400 and 600 gameplay hours to complete these. There's a lot of unlocks along the way. Most notably, at levels 10, 50, and 100, there's a unique costume, and at level 30, there's a unique ink. There's also other pickups along the way, including the premium currency bonds. Now let's talk about Red's weapons. One of the things I like about Red is all of her weapons feel very different, and you kind of almost feel like you're playing 3-ish characters just because her weapons are so independently unique, so different from one another. First up, we have the Heartbreaker, which is like a traditional FPS automatic assault rifle. It's lowish damage as you'd expect, 9 and 12. It's slightly higher than some other full auto weapons, but like it's nothing to write home about. You do have 22 shots before you have to actually reload, so that's more than enough. And you have 6 shots per second, which is a ton. Like that's pretty fast. The reload speed's a bit on the long side at 1.9, so you don't really want to be reloading in combat if you can help it, but if you have to, that's where your expertise or maybe your passives can come in and sort of mitigate that downside for you. This is my personal favorite Red gun, because sometimes it's just nice to lean back on traditional FPS full auto spray them down style weapons, and also I think it might be her best one in most situations. So I see this one from Red a lot, Red players a lot, and this is the one I like to use. We're not going to see it in the preferred build because I don't really want to double the initial and preferred build on the same weapon, and she just has so much variety I want to show off. So we'll see this in the initial build, but we'll see something else in preferred. Fall off for this is 15 meters. I didn't really mention that when we're doing stats. That's pretty normal, and most fights are kind of within that range. You're losing 50% of your damage once you reach 25 meters as the max, so you can lose a lot. You do need to kind of stay in that close-ish 15-meter range, but that tends to not really be a problem, and sometimes you're just throwing out so many shots that the fall-off may not even matter. Next up is the Jack of Heart, which is pretty different from the one we saw. This is a single-shot carbine with, of course, increased damage, lower mag size, and lower fire rate, kind of what you would expect. 20 damage is not a lot. With no HP chips, that means you have to hit 5 body shots, or with HP chips, it's going to be 6 no matter which one they have. If you land a headshot in there, though, that makes it a lot easier because those are 30. You only need like 3 or 4 headshots to outright kill someone. Not that, you know, we're going to hit 4 headshots back to back, or at least I'm not. But landing that headshot can really make that difference by just boosting that, or by just boosting that damage just a little bit more. You only have 8 shots, which isn't great, because if you have to land, say, 6 of them, you're only allowed to miss 2, which your slow fire rate at 2.0 means you do have time to aim, but sometimes you miss, and then you have to reload. And the reload time for this is 2.1 seconds, which is longer than the previous one, and I already said the previous one you don't really want to reload in combat, so this one you really don't. This one I think is actually usable. I know I've kind of ragged on it a little bit here, but I think it is actually usable. If being Red's probably worst weapon, I think you can definitely have fun and play games with it and win games with it, but I do think it's going to be harder to do so with this weapon than her other two. The fall off for this is 25 meters though, so if you really do want to use red in those long range engagements, this is the gun for you. You're still, even if at the 35 meter mark, you're still doing 70% of your damage. So you can do this from really far away. Next up, again, a very different gun. The Love Bite's a shotgun, which is just totally different from what we just saw. So the damage here is 37, and in Deceive, shotguns don't do headshots. So as long as if all the pellets hit, you are gonna hit for 37. You get 6 shots before you have to reload, which is more than enough. Assuming you're hitting all the pellets, 37 is, you need like what, 3 shots? The reload's pretty long. Again, I don't really think you want to reload any of Red's guns in combat, but if you have to, that's kind of what your XPs are for. We'll see that in a sec. And the rate of fire is, again, just 1 shot per second. It's fairly low, but it's a shotgun. You're going to be real up close and personal with it, or you're really not doing any damage. And the damage fall off reflects that. It starts losing damage at the 10 meter mark and loses up to half of it at the 20 meter mark. So you really do just want to be up close and personal with this one. But if you are, fights are pretty difficult to lose. Like if you're initiating with this in your preferred range, you should not be losing that fight with this weapon. There's almost nothing people can do if you combine it well with her expertises. So this is definitely probably her second best or potentially best weapon. And this is what I'll be using in the preferred build in our gameplay showcase, since it is really fun to use. Now let's talk about Red's expertise. As a scoundrel, these are the high impact scoundrel expertises we expect. If you've been on this channel before, we're gonna have to talk about Charm again. It's a meme at this point, I get it, but we gotta do this at least one more time. So Succubus Kiss is a pretty simple ability on the face of it. You throw out a cone, and anyone in that cone gets affected by the Charmed deep debuff. You also regain your own cover. That's about all this ability does, and everything else is technically done by the status effect that is Charm. So let's talk about Charm. So Charm really does 3 things. The first one is it puts whoever is afflicted by it back in cover. So functionally this ability puts you, Red, in cover, and whoever you hit with it in cover as well. Charm also has the effect of Neutralize, which prevents people from using their own expertise while they're charmed. And it also applies a slow effect, which is a slow effect. I don't think I need to explain that one. This lasts for about 5 seconds. Exactly 5 seconds. And then there's one more step. So for 5 seconds, you're both in cover, they're neutralized, they're slowed, and then if they break their cover during these 5 seconds, the charm goes away, but it gets replaced with a worse debuff called Heartbroken. So breaking your own cover is things like your enemies breaking their own cover is things like they shoot, they melee, if they have an expertise that breaks their cover, that sort of things. Them walking into a tripwire or something does not count as them breaking their own expertise. So once they're charmed and have broken their expertise, they get this Heartbroken status effect, which also does 2 things. The neutralize stays, so they still can't use their own expertise, but they also become vulnerable, making them take 25% more damage. And this ability lasts for this debuff, or combo of debuffs, lasts for about 6 seconds. So I'll be honest, the Heartbroken is nothing really to write home about. The 25% damage increase effectively is of course great and should win you the fight, but it really doesn't happen too much because most people just wait out the charm, or you have to break their cover. So really with this ability, charm is the selling point. That neutralize and slow, and that like 5 seconds where you kind of have free time while they sort of have to decide, are they going to break the cover and get Heartbroken, or are they just going to wait it out or try to reposition while slowed? They have to do a lot of decisions, and you should already know what you're doing, which gives you an advantage. So things you can do while they're charmed is pop yourself a health vial. They're charmed for 5 seconds. That only takes 3. Reload your gun takes less than 2 seconds. We talked about how reloading wasn't really an issue, and this is why. If you have to throw out your charm and then pop a reload, most people haven't decided if they're breaking your charm effect or not. And if they do decide, you get to finish your reload, and then you have a target taking 25% more damage. So that's really it. This will come up again in her expertise 3. Luckily, her expertise 2 doesn't involve charm, so we don't have to talk about it again. This one's a pretty simple ability. You pop this AoE around you, and yourself and any allies in that area regain 20 HP, and you cover. That's really it. It's a really quick thing to get cover back, and the small heal of 20 can change fights. And that's really it. It's a pretty simple ability, but an instant heal for 20 and a cover regain, which again can get you that headshot prevention from just having cover, along with one of her passives we'll see in a minute. This ability can be really strong and potentially is one of her best, if not maybe the best. But it's really simple, and you kind of just dump bullets into someone, and once you've lost 20 HP, at least, like, as long as you've lost 20 HP, you can't really use this ability wrong. You just hit it. I would recommend hitting it sooner rather than later, but that's more for the passive that usually gets paired with it, which we'll see later. So just hit it when you've lost at least 20 HP, and I think you're using this ability pretty well. Finally, we have Love Bomb. Love Bomb is the trap version of Succubus Kiss, where you throw out a purse, and if someone out of cover is in an AoE of that purse, they get charmed. It also, if you're in the AoE when that goes off, you get your cover back. So it's very similar to Succubus Kiss, except it's a circle instead of a cone, and you can set it up in advance, which might be a good thing, maybe. But also, usually for Succubus Kiss and Charm, you want to use it when it's beneficial to you, not just the second that they get out of cover. So I'm not a big fan of this one. Some people swear by it, but I think it might be a personal thing. One other advantage this one has is you can kind of move it for free without it going on cooldown. If you just re-hit, for me it's F, whatever your expertise key is, it does make a little particle effect, which I believe enemies can see, but you just pick the post back up. You can also hold E on the post to pick it up, which regains your cover and does put the ability on cooldown. You can also throw it to a teammate and they can pick it up and regain their cover. But honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this one. If you want the cover effect, the Expertise 2 can do that for your teammates with a heal. If you want the charm, I think the Succubus Kiss does everything this does at a better timing, because it's the timing you want rather than this. This, again, the sole advantage I see in this one is if you go to hack a terminal room, you leave this by the door. If someone gets the drop on you, they shoot first, they're instantly charmed, and now you kind of have a decision to make there. But at the same time, if you're just like watching the door and you see someone come in, then you can just throw out a Succubus Kiss at them. So I don't even know if that's worth it. I don't like this one too much, but some people swear by it, so I'm gonna shout it out as that. All right, those expertise were kind of a lot, but let's move on to the passives. The passives are kind of simple, which should be good. Hopefully I haven't lost your attention quite yet. Makeover here does two things. One's kind of important, the other's kind of cool, though you can debate which is which. So first up, whenever red gets her cover back, you gain a resistant buff. And resistant is just a fancy way of saying you take 25% less damage. When I was timing this, it was 2.5-ish, maybe 3 seconds. I'm gonna say 3 seconds, but I couldn't get exact timing on this one. But pretty much whenever you get your cover back, you take 25% less damage for 3 seconds. Now, we talked about Expertise 1 and Expertise 2 are guaranteed to give you your cover back, and Expertise 3 is pretty likely to, as long as you're within that bomb when it explodes. So we'll go ahead and say this works with all of our Expertise, and pretty much when you use any of them, you're gonna get a resistance as well. Now, I think this pairs really well with our Expertise 2, because you just hit the button and heal for 20 and then get resistance, and so that 20 you healed is going to go a little bit further because you're resistant for longer. What's interesting with this one is how it pairs with the other ones with Charm. Since Charm lasts for 5 seconds and this only lasts for 3, it creates an even more interesting mind game of, well, should I as red break my cover because I'm currently resistant, even though that'll give up a little bit of the effects of Charm, or do I wait it out and see if they get heartbroken even though I might be giving up this resistant effect? So there's a little bit of give and take here, and I'm not sure there's a right answer, or always right answer for any of those situations. So, yeah, I don't have any tips for that. I thought I had more to say on that one, but I guess I don't. Moving on to the second part, this is whenever you get your cover back, you change what cover you had. You always keep the same security level. So if you were a civilian, you'll be a civilian. If you were a staff, you'll stay a staff. But you will swap cover. So the Dougs, the guards, the blue guards are named Doug and Amber. So for example, if you started a fight as a Doug and then you gained cover back, you would then be Amber, and vice versa. The only time this doesn't happen is if you are the VIP disguise with on a map that only has one VIP. So if you're Jaddy on Diamond Spire and you break your cover, when you get your cover back, you'll still be Jaddy on Diamond Spire. But if you're on Silver Reef and you disguise yourself as one of the twins, when you lose your cover and get it back, you will become the other twin. It's guaranteed. So this one's really good, and I think it's her most popular and most powerful, but that might just be me. But it's really easy to use if nothing else. Let's move on to View to a Kill here. This one's kind of less used than the other, and it used to be worse than it is now, which is good. But again, pretty simple. When someone dies near you, and unfortunately I was unable to get a good measurement on how near you is, but it is fairly close. Well, I'm gonna estimate 10 to 15 meters, which is about the effective range of your shotgun or your weapon one. But when someone dies near you and you're out of cover, which means you can't just be like hiding and in cover as a civilian, basically you have to be part of the fight. You're gonna get amped up, which is just a fancy way of saying move speed. And you're gonna get a cover regeneration buff, which is a buff no one else has and works functionally the same as the cover regeneration chip. It just makes your cover bar, the physical bar, go up faster. So you gain cover faster. The amped up lasts until 3 seconds after you gain cover, which is kind of why the cover regen buffs there. It's basically you can get away from, say, like a third party or something and get your cover back really quick. One thing you can kind of do that's cool with this is, since the amped up is guaranteed to last for 3 seconds after you get cover, so it lasts until you get your cover back plus 3 seconds, is just never get your cover back, and you can achieve this by just meleeing the air, and you just have amped up move speed until you finally stop meleeing the air, or you know, melee whoever you want, as long as you don't get your cover back. You just keep this amped up move speed. Is it good? Maybe, but it's certainly fun to just run around at amped up move speed for a little bit. The cover regen buff is, you know, pretty good, and I think this one gets an okay overall. Usually, and kind of the downside with this, especially in solos, when you finish a fight, you're grabbing that spy pack, which means the cover regeneration buff didn't really do anything because you got a spy pack, and you do get 3 seconds of amped up to get away, which I think is the valuable part. In teams, I think this becomes a lot more valuable because you're not always the one getting the spy pack, so you get the cover regeneration buff and some move speed to reposition in a fight. And I think it becomes a lot more powerful in team play than solos. Finally, we have Naughty List. Again, a pretty simple one. When someone is scolded or gets heat, you get a trace on them. This has a range of about 60 meters, which is pretty far. It's just far enough that if the like maximum range, you have to kind of decide if it's worth going that distance, but anything closer than that is pretty actionable, and anyone with heat or getting scolded is kind of fair game, because heat is gonna make them take more damage potentially, or if they're getting scolded, they're probably more worried about no longer getting scolded than they are you running over and shooting them. So I think this one is my pick for second best. We're gonna see this one in the preferred build, I believe, but it kind of makes red into like a hunter, because getting heat isn't something you can control, but scolding happens a lot more than you might expect. So this ability is pretty good, and it's important that the intel you're getting is fairly actionable. And I think that's all my thoughts on her current kit. Gadgets aren't really character specific, but we'll try to call out a couple interesting combos here. First up, the shield gets a call out. With her passive one, that cover back gets you that resistance buff, which is pretty powerful. So if you can put your shield down and you have a high cover chip, or even just enough time to get your cover back, then you get this extra resistance. So you could start the fight, use your expertise to get resistance, and then if you can use your shield to get another resistance, that's a lot of damage resistance in a fight. So this one gets a call out. Also, the turret is kind of good-ish with her charm effects, because one of the biggest downside of the turret is the amount of time it takes to deploy. And since you have so much, well, air quote, free time while your opponent is charmed, you do have time to throw at that turret. It is a little bit of a non-bow though. If you throw the turret down in advance and then you charm, just because of the way the timing and targeting of the turret works out, it's possible the turret can actually break their cover while they're charmed, and then they're not really charmed for that long because your turret broke it, and they don't get heartbroken since they didn't break their own turret. So kind of one to be aware of, but I don't usually take it, though it can just be a fun thing to do. Other thing is tripwire breaks the cover. Cover breaking can lead to scolding or potentially heat from having to down guards that are chasing them, which can proc your passive 3, so that can be powerful. The other traps don't really break cover. Slow is of course obviously good to help win fights, and hack trap to maybe find people. But I think Agent Red specific gadgets here, I think I've covered them. I think it's really just those 3. Let's talk about masteries here. So this is the base mastery we'll be using. Since Red's a scoundrel, some field upgrade kit, some expertise cooldown is good. On the other scoundrels, I usually recommend putting this on gold. I think on red, you can get away with a little bit lower, and I think here on purple is actually fine. Especially if you have something else you really want to put on gold. We have hack speed as the base, but there's other things you could put there. Since we'll be showing our showcase in solos, ooh, say that 5 times fast. The ammo pouch I don't find as valuable in solos as in team modes, since you're picking up that spy pack yourself and getting that ammo back pretty much every fight. Versus in teams, there's the same amount of ammo, just has to be spread amongst the team. Other things for Red, the cover accelerator we talked about for potential more cover for her passive 1. I believe that's about it for specific callouts, and as always, we'll call it the exfiltration scanner as bad, and you really just shouldn't be taking this one in any games. And quickly before we get to the build showcase, let's just go over it. Of course, the initial build is going to be our weapon 1, expertise 1. Ooh, let's get the big text, there it goes, and the passive 1. And for our preferred build, it's more of a preferred shotgun build. I didn't want to use the same weapon twice, so this is my preferred build with the shotgun, which is going to be, again, expertise 1. I considered using expertise 2 for this, but then I thought about it, and the combo between 1 and the shotgun and expertise 2 isn't really as nice as the combo between the shotgun and expertise 1, and we'll see this one twice. I think it's worth it. This one's pretty simple, so I don't know if it needs a whole showcase. And we are going to use the naughty list and try to play more of a hunting down players style if we can, and people are getting scolded and heat near us. So I think that'll be fun, and I'll see you in the showcase in 1 second. All right, Fragrant by Night here for our initial build showcase. Let's do it. We start by E. We might even be able to show off the red knock here. I know I try to show off the knockout pretty often in these guides, but it is a very good thing to do off the start if you're one of the agents who can pull it off well. And red is certainly one of them, so we'll grab this intel and we'll head on over to E. Alright, grab this one too for good luck. Knock strategy, if you haven't seen it before, is pretty simple. You just smack the door like that, and no one answers. Sometimes this happens. I think in every single one of these guides where I've attempted to show off the knock, this has happened. Okay, I just didn't give it enough time, unfortunately.
Open
I think if I had tried one more time, they would have got me.
Muscles can't stop class.
The idea being that they come and open the door and you take their disguise. And since you're red, you can use your expertise to get your disguise back instantly. The other way, obviously slapping the door in Red's case works well. Apparently not as well as I thought, but you can also just shoot the door, which creates a much louder shot and can attract guards from further away, but also risks attracting players from further away. So there we go. Yeah, I keep trying to show it off and it keeps being not great, but like it's a trust me, this works, I guess. Maybe I should start shooting the door in these just to make sure the guards really get it aggroed. Alright, grab our gold in there, grab our blue on the way out, and probably head to get a green and a gray. Got spyglass here. We also got a nice blue key card. Let's get this green room. No other reason than it just happens to be the closest one. That's our social battery chip. Oop. I opened that door because the spyglass was kind of freaking out. Oop, that's a vigil fighting somebody. Let's go see if we can discover what that's all about. Sounds like it's new. D. We have a keycard for this. Alright, apologies to the squire.
No door.
And the madam.
Like it's my birthday.
Did any of you have a gray? Well, there's 3 bodies. That's how you clean up a fight. And yeah, this was predictably gone once I saw the purple keycard and chip disappear. But you know what? What's Deceive without a little 4th party action? We're gonna head over to C now because it's the closest one to the vault, and there's only 1 terminal left, so we'd like to be nearby. That means we're basically not gonna do D. Even if it's the absolute last one, we're gonna go there absolutely last. This makes me kind of want to show off the retinal scanner because we saw the VIP there. But one thing with these base field upgrade is the retinal scanner is just a little bit harder because you can only hold 10 intel. And the lowest the retinal scanner costs is 15, I believe now. So you're gonna get mad at me. You step in the threshold for a second? No?
Found a vault terminal.
Well, this is the last vault terminal. I just need you to not scold me. There we go.
There's security. What security?
So I usually like to have a little bit of an intel capacity chip, at least a +4, even sometimes a +2. And it always feels just a little better to get the retinal scanner if you can put in that much to start. Versus 10, have to find 5, and then you have to find even more again. So we know the vault's gonna open, so we can head over to it. There it is. And then in another 15 seconds, it'll be open, but we'll be there by then. We just gotta make sure our suspicion bars is down as much as it can be and our cover up as much as it can be.
At your earliest convenience.
And just sprint on through. I'm missing 1 health file, but I'm gonna leave that because I don't want anyone to know we're ahead of them. I want them to have to guess whether or not we're ahead of them. So, printer there. We are gonna check this room because it's a bit deeper. Sometimes there's one up there I don't see. I could check the other room. There's one below as well. I might go for the one lower because I usually run higher, so I'm assuming most people run up. There's one here, so this changes everything. Dump all of our points into here, and then we'll get hopefully 10 more. Okay, and this and this. There's no big 4 in this room. Sometimes there is. Another 1. 5 intel's not bad to have, but also not great to have. Alright, there's another 2. That works nicely. And we'll go with 7, I think. We might open this drawer. Maybe not. Grab this. And we're in. No one's coming in behind us. Light was green when we entered, obviously red now because we're in here. And let's keep grabbing this. This takes as long as it takes. It's unaffected by hack speed, so we just have to wait. All right, and we see one person. I believe that was a vigil from the outline. We'll go on out. We do have to be aware it's probably a 1v1, but it might be more than that. We haven't really seen a great showing here just because we did get 2 kills, but they were, you know, both people were pretty low already.
That's for me.
This is gonna ping here, and I kind of don't want it to. It's fine. She's way up there. So, oof, a little lag spike. I don't think that came through on the video, but thought I'd shout it out in case we suddenly screwed up. Oh, did she move, or was it actually a lag thing? It was actually maybe a lag thing? I don't actually know. That's weird. I have to decide if I'm investing my expertise in being in cover, and I think I'm going to.
Intel depleting rapidly.
I missed a bunch of shots. Don't do that. There we go. All right, well, that was a really good showing of how to fourth party people, and then a little bamboozle with the package I liked, but we didn't see amazing use of the expertise besides to get our cover back, and the passive is just a passive. So kind of a mid showcase for the actual build here, but I think we showed off some important stuff anyway. But I will just shout out, what I usually like to do if I'm initiating a fight, and I have my expertise, is I'll dump about half a mag into them, and then I'll pop the expertise. I find that there's about enough time they've like just started shooting back, and then you kind of disorient them with the charm. And then you can either reload because you've dumped half a mag, or again, we said use a health vial or something, and then you can keep firing, or they've broken their cover by then. Or if you seem to be in a really good spot, you can have passive 1 and have the resistance, so you can just keep firing. And you've just kind of disoriented them for a moment. We're going to move on to the preferred build showcase with the shotgun, so I'll see you guys right there. All right, we got our gold outfit on, and we got our preferred build here on hard sell. Ooh, pretty.
This is
Do want to shout out before I really get into the gameplay here. We're just going to grab this gray and then that green room. Pretty normal stuff. I did originally plan on doing expertise 2 for this, and I think I've re-recorded all the stuff where I said that, so should be good. But after we did the initial build showcase, we didn't get a great showing on the expertise 1. I felt a little bad, so we were doing expertise 1 here, along with, I also just like thought about shotgun plus expertise 2 versus expertise 1, and I'm like, if I was actually playing, I would definitely vigil, yeah. What do you disguise as? Get your cover back. Hang on. Staff. If I was actually like playing and not making a guide thing, I would definitely prefer expertise 1 over expertise 2 with the shotgun. So it all kind of works out. This actually is much more accurate to the term preferred build, or at least preferred build with weapon 3. Okay, so now we have some options, but that was our passive. Our it's not heat vision, that's Ace's passive. The naughty list where someone got scolded or whoop running. This is weird, but not player weird, if that makes sense. I'm gonna go in this way. Vigil is currently disguised as Jug. Good to know. This is one of the really strong things of naughty list is whoop. We're hit him with one of these and one of those. So the benefit of the charm there was really just to disorient them. And no more than that, just some disorienting and preventing them from I'm gonna heal the 10 here while we do this, preventing them from shooting for a moment while the game forced them back into cover. Kind of interesting thing that happens is the game tries to help you a bit when you get charmed. Oop, someone else to hunt down. Let's go. So you can't actually shoot for a split second. That's another red. Oh, hi. We're just gonna fourth party, whatever this is. Come on, you're smarter than this. Hit him with one of these. Oh. There it is. I knew they snapped, so they were looking to snap, and that's when my neutralizing charm hit them, which prevents the snap. So we got that one more shot, which I genuinely thought would be enough. But they only had one snap target, and it was the Doug who was standing right behind me. So I knew where they were going, and then I turned around and Doug wasn't there, so that's why I started running out, because I assumed I just missed them. But apparently, I had missed Doug, which isn't easy to do. But there we go. Just great showing for our passive and expertise on this one. Hi, guys. I kind of want one of your outfits. I'll take this one.
They're a joke.
And move on. All right. From here, I usually like to go to D because it's the only one I can access from the bottom floor. It's also fairly close to the vault, so if it is the last one or the last one gets done while I'm on the way to D, it kind of works out. But yeah, all right, this has been a really good showing so far. I need to hit this button. There we go. This will heal us up almost to full. Missing 1 HP. Now I just got to decide how much I actually care about 1 missing HP. Is it worth a health vial? Is it even worth a plate of food? I think it's worth the plate of food. Oh, Garcia's here.
There is no vault terminal in this area.
Alright, this has been looted. Oh, look, someone left a calling card. Let's double down. Here's a heart. Okay, don't see anything sus going on up here. Now I gotta pick between C and E, and frankly, I think it's just a 50-50. I don't know if one's necessarily better than the other. Traced by Cav is neat. It might be that Doug way down there. We're just gonna go to E though, normally. They're gonna know we're Elite Amber here, as I call her, Abby. Okay, this is gone. We're gonna take the secret exit because it makes me feel better. This is probably a bad idea though, because at the end of the day we gotta end up with C, which is really far up. But I think if I'm good at the game, yeah, make this jump. And bounce pad. This is why bounce pad is one of my favorite items. You can just do some cool roof plays like this, and like here we are at C. And we know this is the last one. We also know there's a Cav alive. Don't know where she is.
Terminal location confirmed.
So when a Cav keeps tracing like this, the best thing you can do is just stop touching stuff. But it's really hard to do, especially if you're trying to progress the game, because it's even things like doors. And on hard sell, how do you stop touching doors? So we just kind of chill for a moment. But like, here's a door. We can't like, the best way to play against Cav is to not touch this door. We're just gonna wait the 15 seconds for this, and then the vault's right there, and I can go this way. I'm just trying to play to my best strength. If Cav finds me here, I'm in shotgun range, unless she's way over there and no one uses this back bit. So she'll be within shotgun range.
Time to get down to business.
I missed. I missed twice. There we go. Hit him with one of these so I can stop missing and reload. Oh my goodness. Just, I knew he was within slap range. I'm just bad. Alright, grab one of these.
I'll take it.
Maybe next time we'll do a, No? Okay. I figured it wasn't a player, because hearing that fight and then coming this way would be a little weird, because you would have had to hear it from really far away. This is normally a really good printer, and I would get it, except that I have a shotgun, so one of the best angles you can cover if you get that printer is that really long hallway, but you can't really cover it with a shotgun as well as you can other guns, so... though if my aim there was anything to write home about, it may not matter, or any indicator. All right, well, then I was hoping to find a printer pretty quick, but we're not, so. After the, we'll call it extended fight. Oh, player in front of me. We just see the holocron. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. A couple of shots, and then you basically stop them from getting away with the charm. If it's not a cav and they have an actual use of expertise, like we saw on the madam, or sorry, a combat useful expertise, should specify. Cav hater's gonna rise up on me for that one. Or cav mains. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, if they have a combat useful expertise, you prevented them from using it. You've slowed them. So even though like I didn't go for heartbreaks at all. I just shot again. The only thing we needed was a neutralize and a slow to make sure I didn't miss. And we were in shotgun range, so everything worked out. So there we go. Those are preferred shotgun build of Red. Really fun character. Has 3 different weapons that all feel really unique and really different to play. And then you have like the rest of the kit that just comes together and kind of complements all 3 of them in different ways. I think Red is a great character and is among my favorites. And yeah, if this guide helped you out, please subscribe. It really does help me make more of these guides and videos in general. If we missed anything, feel free to post it in the comments. Some people have done some pretty big informative comments, and I've tried to pin those where I could to various guides for more info. Or if we missed anything general that would be useful for the rest of the guides, there's still, I think, 6 characters to go, so we can always add to those. And like the video for the algorithm, and we usually do gameplay commentary here, not so much guide stuff, though we are focused on that for the next little bit. So if that's something you're into, I will see you in the next one.